And we'll bring ourselves to laying down on our back. And as you come down, we'll spend the first few moments, as we kind of usually do, just settling in, not rushing into any movement, just starting to kind of bring the body into stillness. So find a position that suits you. You can lay with your with the soles of the feet on the floor and the knees pointed up towards the ceiling, or you might choose to lay the body out totally flat. It's entirely up to you. You can have a wiggle as you get there. Just make sure that you are actually comfortable to lay yourself down. It's always a bit of a kind of shock to the system when you sort of suddenly force yourself into stillness and then maybe feel sort of then restless, or like there are unfinished movements that need to be made before you can be still. So take your time in coming down. Once you found yourself laying on your back, the version of this reclined position that suits you in this moment, we'll let the hands either rest on the belly or softly by your sides. And we're just starting to bring our awareness, our attention into the body. Starting to drop our focus on external things. So allowing external stuff, the kind of stuff, the bits and pieces of everyday life to kind of gently slide out of focus. We'll loosen our grip on them. And instead, we're going to bring our awareness, our attention to this moment in our body right now. Noticing how the body feels. And it might be immediately obvious to you how the body feels. If you've just practiced Inferno, it might be immediately obvious to you how your body feels. Or it might be more subtle than that, and it might take some time, some sifting through the stuff of the body to try and work out what is here. Allow the breath to be easy and relaxed. Throughout this entire practice, there's no need to change or deepen or attempt to improve the breath. You just let the breath happen as it naturally does. And see if you're able to tap into a sensation of quiet, stillness in the body, quiet in the mind. A last couple of breaths here in stillness before we begin to find some gentle movement. Over the course of the next few breaths, if the body gives you the signal that it's time to move, feel free to start with small movements in the body. There isn't any hurry, so if you feel like you want a couple more breaths in stillness, please take them. When you are ready to move, maybe it's rolling with the hips, or wiggling the fingers, or stretching out the toes. Maybe it's turning the head from one side to the other. You can really get into any movements that feel nice in your body, that feel good as a way to wake your body up. And then eventually, no rush, we'll meet in a position laying flat on our back with the legs outstretched and the arms gently resting overhead, but not in a kind of real strict kind of rigid position. So they're soft on the shoulders, the arms are reaching out. Imagine the body is the shape of an X on the floor. An X marks the spot. We're just going to start to find a movement here, which is going to be different for every body, as all movements are. But this one in particular is we're aiming to keep it as soft as we can. So we'll start with the right hand. And all that's going to happen is the right hand is going to travel across to the left hand, but it's going to get there slowly. So you might bend up at the right elbow, let the right hand track across the front of the body, begin to reach up the left arm, and there will begin to be a roll in the body that might get bigger as you go. So you might find yourself rolling the head, maybe even rolling the body over onto your front, and then the right hand is going to travel back exactly the way it came in, rolling the body onto your back. We'll do the same thing again, sticking with the same hand. This is why you need a bit of room. So if you need to now get off your mat and just go and lay in the middle of the space, please do, so you can get that real roll going. The right hand is going to come across the body. It's going to reach up and along the left arm. Notice the right leg is sort of dragged behind you. There's that real delicious length of the right side of the body. You can make it as big, as small, as expressive, as relaxed as you want it to be. We'll go one more time with the right hand and then we'll switch over and see how it feels to move on the left. So make your way back to that big X shape and then bring the right hand across, rolling through the body, slowly. Lead with the right hand. Maybe the right heel has to give a little press into the floor to get that roll of the hips. You can pause when you're there, or you can begin the journey back immediately. Eventually, though, we'll meet with the right arm extended back up overhead, back in that big X shape. So I'll show you it going in the other direction. You're going to begin to move through the left hand. The left hand peels away from the floor, rolls up and across the chest. Then maybe the left heel has to give a little dig into the mat to get that delicious roll through the body. Maybe you're coming right up and over. The left hand reaching out past the right hand, bringing the body over, maybe even onto your belly. It's your choice how much or how little you move here. Bringing it back. Left hand extending back to that big X shape, and you'll start the movement again. Left hand rolling across. So really nothing more complicated than rolling the body around on the floor. But as the body rolls on the floor, maybe there are bits that it feels really nice to kind of press down through, or to move slowly past. We'll go one more roll, initiated by this left hand, sliding across the front of the chest, up the inside edge of the right arm. Maybe the left heel has to give a little kick into the mat to get the roll going. Once you're there, maybe there's a pause, a moment for a big stretch, and you'll begin that roll back, traveling with the left hand coming back in and across. Once you find your way back to that big X marks the spot position, you've probably guessed where we're going. We're going to start to see how it feels if we activate that roll through the feet. So we'll start with the right foot, bending at the right knee, draw the right foot up and in. Let it roll across the center line of the mat, and then down the inseam of the left leg. Notice the way the body has to kind of accommodate that movement, the right hand dragging across towards the left. You might roll all the way over onto your belly. This is what I meant by crashing into the wall. And then that right leg is going to begin the movement back, maybe traveling up the inside of the left leg, across the center line of the body, eventually extending back out. There isn't a wrong way to move here. So you really kind of get into it. I find that bending up at the knee, and then dragging the toes across the center line of the mat, and then almost hooking the toes around the back of the left leg enables that kind of lovely roll of the body. And then dragging those toes back up the inseam of the leg, across the midline of the mat, and then extending out the leg works for me. We'll go one more time on the right side. So feeling that kind of lovely movement through the hip as well, if you can get to it. I find that hook of the toes is really important down the back of the left leg. You're moving as much or as little as you want to here. You're noticing the parts of the body that it feels really great to kind of press into the floor to get moving. We'll try it on the other side. So once you've finished that movement through the right leg, and I'm not hurrying you here at all, you take your time. I'm fitting in 3 rolls, but you might go for just one super slow roll. So I'm starting on my left now. The left knee bending up, the left foot coming across, tracking down the inseam of the right leg, eventually rolling the body, potentially bringing it out of view. No, it's not. Left toes tracking up the inseam of the right leg, rolling me back across, extending out through the left leg. So I'm going to go for 2 more, exactly like that. You are welcome to move slower or quicker than me, whatever feels good. You might take your time noticing the parts of this movement that feel great. And it's not hugely high tech, but there is so much happening in the body if you let it.
I'm going in for this last roll to give you a rough idea of how long you might have left playing with this left side. If you need to use the knee to give the mat a little push away to get that roll going back, you're welcome to do that. Eventually you'll find yourself back in that big extended X shape. Take a massive stretch, a big inhale, energizing fingertips, energizing toes, maybe pushing out through the heels, really activate every muscle in the body. Big breath in here. Let it go, let the body get heavy, sinking into the floor. Maybe a sigh. When you're ready, draw the knees up towards the chest, give yourself a bit of a hug. From here, we're going to make our way to sit. I would usually give you the option of rocking and rolling up and down the spine, but just to stick with that idea of slinking the body past the floor, we'll roll over onto your side, whichever one is your favourite side to lay on, it doesn't matter. And just pause there, let the body almost just melt, flop into the floor. Press the top hand down, push the body up and away from the floor. I always think of, when I do this, I always think, rain is absolutely hammering down outside. Sorry, just noticed. I always think of that moment in horror films when the hand kind of comes through the soil, when I'm sort of dragging myself up away from the floor. That's how I kind of want this practice to feel. We'll meet seated, crossing the legs. Take an inhale, bring the arms up overhead. As you exhale, the right hand is coming down to find the mat. The left arm is reaching up and overhead. You know this. You've probably been here before. You can feel your way into it. Take an inhale breath here. Exhale, sweep your way through. So it's a big half circle moving around the body. The hands can be in the air or they can sweep along the floor. So that movement, big inhale to reach up. Exhale to start the sweep across. This movement here is so good for getting into the kind of sticky part of the middle back. The big, strong QL muscles that are part of the kind of core that hold us up through the spine. Exhale brings you back through. So really, if you're feeling very, very kind of sticky or crunchy in the middle back, you've been doing lots of strengthening work there, you might go nice and slow through that. We'll go one last time back over towards our right. Inhaling left arm high. This time we'll exhale all the way through to center and pause there in the middle. Fingertips out in front. Take an inhale. Lengthen up through the front of the body. Imagine a kind of hand drawing the rib cage away from the hips. Exhale, you're going to fold the body in. We'll go one more time. Inhale to lengthen up. Exhale to fold in. Nice. Fingertips walk your way in very gently, bringing yourself up to the top. Inhale, the arms come up and overhead. Exhaling, I'm going to rotate through the body, left hand coming across to right knee. It's really soft. The right hand can find the floor, and to keep it soft, if you don't need the right hand for support, which you potentially don't if we're using this as softly as we can, let the back of the hand find the floor. Inhale, lift up through the center of the chest. Exhale, rotate through the spine using the muscles at the belly, not the hands. You can test yourself. Let both hands face up towards the ceiling, that gesture of surrender. Take an inhale, lengthen up. Exhale to turn. Inhale, the arms are coming back up overhead. We'll take it onto the other side. So turning across, right hand to left knee, the hand could be facing down. See if you can put the left hand down facing up. It's really gentle, or just maybe the fingertips rest on the mat. Inhale, you'll lift up. Exhale, you'll turn, rotating through the body, maybe challenging yourself to turn the right hand to face up. Next inhale is going to scoop the arms up overhead. And from here, we're going to transition to all fours. You're welcome to bring the hands down and roll up and over the knees if there's space for that, or maybe you're swinging the legs out and around behind you, and we'll meet on all fours. When we get there, hands are stacked underneath the shoulders, and we're heading straight, you probably guessed, we're heading straight into cat-cow. So nothing kind of super technical, nothing you don't know here. So feel free to start to feel your way into it if you know where you're going. Hands are going to plant down, all 5 fingers of each hand spreading wide. Index finger knuckle really anchors into the mat. The elbows can have a little bend in them, and we're just going to start to move through the spine. The inhale, dropping the belly low, lifting the gaze slightly, but not at the risk of compromising the neck. So you're not cranking the head back.
the gaze and the neck. The gaze is forwards, the neck is long. Exhale, you'll pull the belly in, tuck the tailbone round the spine, push the hands into the floor. Nice and active in the hands. Maybe also active in the tops of the feet. Inhale, the belly drops low, keeping that going with your own breath, not necessarily with mine. And if our breaths match, that is great, that's fine, you can stick with that. But if you're kind of faking it just to fit with my rhythm, I'd rather you did your own thing. I was teaching there's a beginner's course running at the minute, and I was teaching the beginner's course the other day, and I said to them, you're not here to do my yoga, you're here to do your yoga. And they all sort of stared back at me. But I hope that makes a bit of sense in what I'm trying to say here. We'll go for 1 or 2 more breaths, depending on how quickly you move. Coming through your last rounding of the back. And bringing yourself through to neutral. Once we've got ourselves to neutral, we're going to start to find a little bit of bigger movement, walking the hands in towards the knees. Take your time. Bring yourself up to standing on the knees. There's something about this position, standing on the knees, that is a real big moment for head rush for some reason. So if you've come up and you feel a bit woozy, take an extra breath. We're going to move through a kneeling sun salutation, which I think lots of you will have done before with me, but if you've not, it's nice and simple. We'll go through it slowly. When you're ready, finding yourself standing on the knees, you've got a slight squeeze of the glutes, the hips are nudging forward, so there's a lovely straight line up through the front of the body. You'll inhale the arms up overhead. You'll exhale, pull the belly in, hinge forwards. You're bringing the hands right the way down to the mat. When you get down to the bottom, inhale, push back. Exhale, pull forwards. Inhale, drop the belly low. Exhale to round the spine. So a little moment of cat-cow in there. Pull the belly in here. You'll inhale, the arms come up and overhead. Exhale, the hands come down through heart center. Steady breath. We'll pause for a breath, taking an inhale here and exhale here. So there is a little moment of strength in that lift and the lower. We're going to string a few of those together. We're going to try and go for 3 times, just keeping it rolling. So when you're ready, inhale the arms up. Exhale, this is your moment of strength. The belly pulls in, you're going to hinge forwards. Hands touch down, you'll push back, inhale. Pull forwards, exhale. Inhale, drop the belly low. Exhale, pulls the belly in, push the floor away. With the belly pulled in that much, you're going to bring the hands up and away from the floor as you rise to the top. Imagine the thumbs drag towards the back of the room, the hips pressed forward. Exhale, the hands come down, however you like, maybe through heart center or maybe out wide by your sides. Take an inhale breath. Exhale breath. When you're ready, inhale the arms up and overhead. Exhale to dive in, belly pulls in. Inhale, push with the hands, press back, long in the body. Exhale, pull forwards to hands and knees. Inhale, belly drops low. Exhale, you'll round, press the hands into the floor, press the tops of the feet into the floor. Keep the belly switched on, arms rise, you'll squeeze through the glutes, inhale, draw the thumbs to the back of the room. Exhale, hands coming down. You've got a steady breath. If you need to adjust things, this is your moment. Your next inhale, pick the arms up. This is your last float through, your last opportunity to make this your own, hands coming down to the mat. Inhale, you'll push back. Exhale, you'll pull forwards, active in the hands, claw with the fingertips. Inhale, drops the belly low, lifts the gaze. Exhale, pulls the belly in. Pull the belly in, rise to the top, squeeze through the glutes, press the hips forward, the thumbs drag back. Your last opportunity to lift through the chest. Exhale, hands are coming down. Steady the breath here. Nice. When you're ready, bringing the hands back to the floor, we're going to start to find a little bit of movement through the hip. So I'll turn this way just so you can see it on the right, which is the side we're going to do first. So hands are going to find the floor. If hands on the floor gets to be challenging for you as we spend a bit of time here, not tons of time, but a little bit of time, you're welcome to swap the hands for a loose fist resting on the mat. A loose fist is all 4 fingers closed into the palm, the thumb lightly coming over the top. You're resting on the flat of the knuckles. So you're welcome to trade palms of the hands for a fist whenever you feel like you need to. And what we're going to do is just start to find a little bit of movement through the right hip, which is going to begin at the knee. So when you're ready, draw the right knee in towards the chest, out and round as if it was skimming past the right elbow. It probably won't touch the right elbow. Up and over at the back, and then back in and down, as if you were kind of drawing a half circle, sort of semicircle with the right knee. We're going to go for a couple of these. There will be a kind of moment where you have to really think about the belly to kind of create a bit of stability so you're not wobbling over to the side, but it's not super rigid, this. And then we'll change direction. Next time your knees are side by side, change direction. Take the right knee up and back, in and over, skimming past the right elbow maybe into the chest, and then back, knees side by side. Go for one more like that. And then from here, just start to move that right leg in any way that feels interesting and good. So it might be that you want to let the toes skim the floor and find a calf stretch. It might be that you really enjoy kind of swishing the leg about like it was an imaginary tail. It might be that you're looking for those big old back bends as you lift the leg high. You can kind of head into anything that feels good, that feels interesting. You can bend through the elbows. You don't have to be stable in the body. You can let the body roll over. We'll go for a last breath here. This can feel quite fiery, especially if you're being super energetic. So take a break if you need it before we get there, but we'll let the right knee eventually bring itself back down to the ground. Steady yourself, feel the hips level, but now maybe feeling different. The right leg may be feeling very different to the left leg at this point. When you're ready, we'll start that movement on the left. So let's just spin around for it. So it's going to come to the chest first. Left knee to the chest. Up and out, past the left elbow. So a little skim past the left elbow. Up and over, in and round. So just because we're moving slowly in this slow flow practice doesn't mean that there aren't kind of little opportunities for you to really think about power and strength, and maybe even just getting a slight sweat on, depending on how warm the room you're in is. Next time your knees are side by side, just reverse the direction. Left knee coming up and back, out and over, past the left elbow, in and down. We'll go for sort of one more, moving in a circle, and then we'll just start to find that free movement through the left leg. So you can move quickly, you can move slowly, you can take it right the way out. Any little movements that feel good, you can pause, you can put the left foot down, or you can keep it active the whole time. The rest of the body can move. You can drop to the elbows if you need to. You can come up on the fists if that's better for you. We'll go for probably one more breath here, feeling the heat, the fire maybe building up. And then we'll eventually bring the left knee back to match up with the right. We'll pause. Notice the hips level, maybe feeling more similar here. From this position, when you're ready, you're going to extend out through the right leg. Send the right leg out wide to the side. Right toes are going to point straight ahead. If you've got space for this, fab. If you've not, turn on your mat. We'll just turn and readjust ourselves for going the other way. So right toes are going to point straight ahead. Squeeze through the glutes. Press the hips forwards as you inhale. The arms will rise up. As you exhale, the right hand's finding the right thigh. The left arm is reaching up and over. Little squeeze through the left glute to nudge the left hip forwards in space maybe. And you're not dumping down here. There's no weight pressing into that right leg. You could lift the right hand if you needed to. In fact, why not? Inhale, lift the right hand up to match the left. Stretch both arms up and over out towards the side. Exhale, left hand is going to come down. Maybe find the floor. If it doesn't find the floor easily, you're coming onto fingertips. Or maybe you can grab something and jam it in underneath there to give you a little bit of support if you need it. Right arm reaches up for the ceiling first. And then out and past the ear. Massive stretch all the way down the right-hand side of the body. Keep the hips pressing forwards, especially the left hip, which has got a tendency to spin back underneath you and make things all a little bit easier. Take an inhale here. Exhale, your right hand is coming down. You're going to sweep your way back through to center. And we'll just switch it over, stepping the right knee in to match the left leg out. Left toes point forwards. Squeeze through the glutes. Push the hips forwards in space. As you inhale, the arms will rise up. Exhale, left hand comes over to find the left thigh. Inhale, reach up, right fingertips up and over, lengthening up and over. It's been a really long time. I'm speaking to the people who are listening to this playlist that I've got. It doesn't matter if you're not listening to it. It's been a long time since I heard it, and just listening to it thinking, this is excellent. Take an inhale here. You're going to reach both arms up and over, stretching them out towards your left. And as you exhale, right hand is coming back to find the floor. Right fingertips, maybe you're grabbing that prop that you had on the other side. You've quickly grabbed a book or bits and pieces. Maybe it's just the fingertips on the mat. Inhale, left fingertips for the ceiling first. Exhale, reaching out past the bicep. Inhale here. Exhale, sweep it forwards and through. If you've turned on your mat, as you bring the left knee back in to match the right, you're going to turn back, so you're facing the short end of your mat. If you didn't turn, you'll find yourself here, facing the short end of the mat, ready to move into downward facing dog, or tuck the toes underneath, press the hips back. Take an inhale breath here. Exhale, send the hips high. Maybe you want to pedal out through the legs. Maybe you're kind of keen to keep movement happening in the body, or maybe you just want a moment of stillness. You can shake your head no, you can nod your head yes. Any little movements you feel like you want. And then when you're ready, from here, we're going to find a super slow roll out to plank, but we're not going to hold it in plank. We're just going to keep it fluid. When you're ready, with a soft bend in the knees, you'll inhale to come high onto the tiptoes. Lift the heels as high away from the mat as you can. Exhale, pull the belly in as you roll the body out to plank. Hip plank, and then immediately you're bending in the knees skim past the floor, the hips go high. So if you're not sure, you're welcome to watch a couple. Yeah, that looks perfect. I just caught a little glimmer of one there. That was beautiful, really nice. So we'll keep that going, nice and fluid. Use your inhale to rise high, and then your breath is nice and steady, moving through. Rolling out to plank, immediately bending the knees, arms are strong, hips float high. We'll go for 2 more, up on the toes, roll it out. See if you can enjoy the sensation of rolling out through the shoulders. Last one, inhale lifts you high. Tuck the chin maybe to the chest, right into the last moment when the neck unfurls. We'll meet back in downward facing dog. When you've got there, take an inhale breath. Exhale, have a sigh through the mouth. Last one, big inhale here. Exhale, sigh it out. Inhale, look forwards between the hands. You're going to walk feet to hands or hands to feet, I don't mind which. And we'll meet hanging out over the legs. Maybe, again, maybe moving or maybe still. Entirely your choice. From this position, we're going to roll up to stand, putting a soft bend in the knees to begin with, tucking the tailbone first of all. Imagine the hands are blocks of concrete and it's heavy work getting them off the floor. You're going to pull the belly in 1 vertebrae at a time, as slowly as you possibly can. Roll through the upper back, shoulders and head rolling into place at the very last moment. Once you found yourself there upright, take a nice steady breath. Make any adjustments that you need to. Can't see you guys when I'm standing up. We'll find ourselves somewhere near the top of the space that you're working in. Just going to move through some
Super slow, kind of familiar shapes. So when you're ready, standing feet hip width distance apart, nice and solid. Little squeeze through the glutes. Push the hips forward just a touch. Take an inhale breath. Stretch the arms up and overhead. Your exhale breath begins your fold, but it doesn't matter if it takes longer than one exhale for you to get down there. All the way down, bend the knees, bend the knees, bend the knees, as much as you need to. Your inhale breath starts your halfway lift, sliding the hands up the fronts of the thighs, inflating the back body, long spine. Exhale, you'll fold in. Bend the knees a lot, let the head hang. Inhale, push the floor away as you rise to stand. It doesn't matter if it takes longer than one inhale breath for you to get up to the top. When you get to the top, you're looking to catch the next inhale to reach up. Exhale, the hands are coming down. However you like, maybe they travel through heart center, maybe they sweep out wide. We're going to do 2 more like that, keeping it that pace, no rush. Your inhale breath, reaching up. Your exhale breath beginning the fold, but it doesn't matter how long it takes you to get there. So take your time and bend your knees as much as you need to coming down. You can really get low into that forward fold with a deep bend in the knees, head can hang. And then your inhale breath starts your halfway lift. Inflate the back body, lengthen through the crown of the head. The spine is included in the neck. Exhale will fold. Head hangs. Inhale, push the floor away, strong through the feet. You'll rise to stand. Exhale, the hands are coming down, however you like. 1 more, exactly like that. Inhale, rise up. See if you can express something through the body. Exhale, fold in. Inhale to rise halfway. Look just slightly forward. So the back of the neck is long. I tend to look about 1 meter, 1.5 meters in front of my big toes. Exhale, fold your weight in. Bend through the knees, let the head hang just for a beat, and then the next inhale picks you up. Feet press the floor away, rise to the top. Exhale, the hands come down however you like. It's nice and steady with the breath. Cool. From here, inhale the arms up and overhead. Exhale to dive your way in, long over the legs. Inhale, halfway lift. Unfurl the spine. Exhale to fold back in. Belly low over the thighs. From this place, fingertips are going to stabilize you as you send the right leg back behind you. Let the right knee gently come down to find the floor. And you've got an inhale to sweep your way up into a crescent lunge. Let the hips drop forwards as the thumbs reach for the back of the room. It is a crescent lunge because you're looking for a smooth crescent moon shape in the back of the body. Inhale there. Exhale, fingertips dive in to find the floor. Hands plant down, tuck the back toes, and we're going to step it back to plank. If you struggle to get this left foot off the floor at this point, through the body underneath to plank, you're going to take the left hand onto the inside of the left foot and let the left foot go a little bit wider. That's just going to make it loads easier to sweep back in one movement to plank. Yes, beautiful. I'm not sure who I can see there, but that was really lovely. Take an inhale, breath in plank. Exhale to release the knees to the floor, let the body come down, the elbows skim the ribcage. The body touches down, the hands are going to come wide. You guys know this is my favourite. The hands come wide, the fingertips press down into the mat, the elbows pop up into the floor. If somebody was to take a photo of you from the front, it's like something from a horror film. Make it nice and creepy. As you inhale, you'll slink up and away from the mat. Head unfurls last. Exhale, the belly button lowers, the chest lowers, the chin lowers. You're coming down. We're going for 2 more like that. Inhale, you'll rise. Exhale, you'll lower. And as you lower, imagine you're laying the body down taller than you were before. Inhale to rise. Squeeze the glutes. Push the hips down. That will help. Exhale, you'll lower. Hands under the shoulders. Press the hips back to the heels as you bring yourself through this kind of long body stretch And then we'll make our way, when you are ready, in your own time, to downward facing dog. We'll meet there. Maybe you're moving, maybe you need to adjust. But wherever you are, we'll meet in downward facing dog. We're going to inhale when you're ready, the left leg up and away from the floor. Doesn't have to go high, but we are interested in getting a nice big step. And it doesn't matter if you really have to find momentum and kick it forwards. If it doesn't come forwards and it gets stuck somewhere back on the mat, grab it with your hand at the back of the ankle and lift it up into the right position. Let the right knee find the floor, sorry. And we're moving into that crescent lunge one more time. Inhale, sweep it up. Exhale, dive in. Fingertips stabilize you as the right leg steps back to match the left during your forward fold. Head hanging. Crown of the head drops to the floor. Bend the knees. Big press the floor away. As you inhale, you'll rise to stand. Exhale, the hands are coming down. However you like with the hands. Take a breath here. Inhale, the arms are going to rise up. Exactly the same on the other side. So none of that is rocket science. None of that is likely to feel that kind of innovative or new to you. When you're ready, your inhale scoops up a halfway lift. The beauty about it means you can take your time, you can enjoy whichever bits that feel great for you, and then you can catch us up. When you've come out of your halfway lift, you fold back in, the fingertips find the floor, and you'll send the left leg long back behind you. The left knee gently comes down to find the floor. You let the hips nudge forwards as you inhale, the arms up and overhead, thumbs drag back. Exhale, hands fold in. Remember, you've got that trick if you struggle to step back to plank from here. You bring the right hand onto the inside of the right foot, you take the right foot a little wider, and it's easier to take it back in one movement to plank. Hip plank, take an inhale breath. Exhale, the knees release to the floor, the body drops down, the elbows skim past the ribcage. If you want a chaturanga, you are welcome to it, but we're coming into this wide cobra. So the fingertips press into the floor, the elbows pop up towards the ceiling, squeeze through the glutes, and you've got 3 breaths to work that lift and lower. But you can get to it in a kind of interesting, snaky way, maybe coming up on one side and lowering on the other, drawing a bit of a circle if you want to. Maybe you want to stop at the top and look one way, look the other way, anything that feels comfortable, no sharp pain, but maybe you are having to work with a little bit of power. Last breath up, last breath coming down, hands under the shoulders. When you're ready, press the hips back to the heels, tucking the toes, we'll lift the hips high. We'll meet in downward facing dog when you're ready. So if you need a breather, take it. Absolutely feel free to stay here, to pause for a moment. In your downward facing dog, can you think about the upper arm bones externally rotating, as if the biceps were going to spin towards the front? But obviously they can't spin towards the front. But that angle that you're thinking about drawing them to, you'll notice how much more engaged the shoulders feel if you can tap into that. Take an inhale breath here, set through your feet, and then when you're ready, the right leg is lifting high. Exhaling, just find your massive step. It doesn't have to be beautiful, it doesn't have to be graceful, just getting that right leg forwards as best you can. If you need to grab it and move it, please do. Left knee finds the floor, and it's an inhale, you'll sweep it through and up. Exhale, you'll dive the fingers in. Plant through the right foot, fingertips to stabilize as the left foot steps forwards. Back in our forward fold, hanging out over the legs, maybe a pedal. Press the floor away, inhale, rise to stand. Exhale, the hands are coming down. From here, we're going to move into something maybe a little fierier, maybe a little bit more kind of intuitive for you to kind of really make your own. When you're ready, at the top of your mat, take an inhale breath, bring the arms up to the top. Exhale, you fold in. You know this, but try not to let it switch on to autopilot. Take an inhale, rise halfway. Exhale, slow fold, head hangs just for a moment. Fingertips to stabilize you. The right leg steps back. The right toes find the floor. You're not going to let the right knee drop down this time. Instead, you're going to activate through the right leg as if you're going to shine the back of the kneecap up towards the ceiling. Squeeze through the glutes, take an inhale and sweep your way up to a high lunge. It doesn't matter if it's wobbly. From this high lunge, as the right heel drops down, the right arm is going to sweep out and open, bringing you into your warrior two in a kind of lovely half semicircle. We've been doing a lot of that kind of QL action sweeping, so see if you can find a bit of that there. You're in your warrior two here. So we're going to string a few movements together. You can let the arms go if you need to catch your breath. We're going to string a few movements together. They are familiar movements, but I want you to just move them in any way that feels good. So it starts off with us in warrior two. Left hand reaching forwards. You'll reach forwards with the left hand, let the body hinge forwards. You'll exhale, float it back. Inhale, you'll reach up for your reverse warrior. Exhaling, you're going to come back through. You're going to pull away from the front, lift the left toes. As you spin the left toes out, you'll be able to bend into the right knee. And maybe high, maybe low. You choose. You'll inhale to come back and sink into your warrior two. So those are your three movements. Warrior two brings it forwards to reverse. You bring it back forwards to take it away and scoop back to a high skandasana. We're going to make those movements completely your own. Sweep it back to warrior two if you came with me just then. And we'll just start to find it flowing with your own breath. We're going to go for maybe 3 or 4 kind of rounds through. You will find your rhythm with it. You will find the movements that start to feel like they make sense for you. Maybe in your mind, you can see how these shapes kind of tell a story. Maybe you're a kind of beautifully painted warrior. Maybe you're one of those incredibly graceful older women doing Tai Chi in the park. Also beautiful, different kinds of beautiful. I'm coming in for my third one of these. I think we'll go for one more. So taking it at your own pace, having to adjust the feet maybe as you move. Last time back in Skandasana. Float it to warrior two when you are ready. We'll meet there. Inhale there. Exhale there, feel solid. Right hand leads the cartwheel back. Up and over. Fingertips eventually coming down to find the floor. And if you find this transition tricky, let the right heel lift. Bring the left hand onto the inside of the left foot. Use that trick to step back to plank. We'll meet in plank. Feeling nice and solid. Inhale here. You can release the knees or you can let the entire body come down in one piece. It's totally your choice. We move slowly, but we're still strong. Yes, beautiful work. Hands coming out wide. You've got 3 breaths in that wide cobra. Elbows pop up towards the ceiling, and you can really make the most of these breaths. You can take one on the floor if that suits you. Maybe you're coming up just at the top of the back. Maybe you're really powering up through the hands and using the whole body to lift. This next exhale, coming down, hands under the shoulders, press the hips back to the heels. And we'll meet in downward facing dog. When you are ready, there's no hurry. Take your time. Let the breath do what it's doing. Maybe you want to sigh through the mouth. Maybe you're quite happy moving. When you're ready, inhale, look forwards between the hands. And as you exhale, you're going to walk the hands to the feet, maybe taking just 2 big steps, or maybe your heel toeing the feet all the way up to the top. However you get there, let the body hang out over the legs. Take an inhale breath. And exhale breath, let the body go. Press through the feet, you'll inhale, rise to stand.
Arms are reaching up. Exhale, the hands come down however you like. Exactly that on the other side. So we know where we're going a little bit more now. We've got to grips with those ideas of kind of just moving fluidly through different shapes, and you can start to make it your own. Inhale when you're ready, the arms rise up. There's no hurry because you know you can catch us up. Exhale, you'll dive in, bend at the knees. Your halfway lift. Exhale, you'll fold. Fingertips to stabilise you as you send the left leg back. Let the left toes catch you lightly. Shine the back of the left kneecap up towards the ceiling. So you're strong in that quadricep. It's going to help to keep the wobble out as you bring the fingertips up and overhead. You'll inhale at the top. You'll exhale, use the left arms, reaching out and around to slide the left heel to the floor to bring you open into your warrior two. You might take a moment to settle into it. You might need to make some adjustments. Once you've found yourself there, we'll walk through those three shapes quite slowly, and then we'll just start to string them together. So when you're ready, use an inhale breath to reach forwards. Use an exhale breath to float back. Come sort of probably about half the way, and then it's the inhale that fires it up. Exhale, you'll cartwheel the arms, pull whatever it is away. As you lift the right toes, turn on the right heel, sink your way into your Skandasana. And you can be coming super low down here, or you can be coming half the way. Maybe you're still quite high up, playing with the bend in that left knee. Float your way back to your warrior two. Maybe a big cartwheel, or whatever else you feel like is good in the hands. And we'll float through maybe 3 or 4 rounds of that movement, just kind of feeling your way into it. And if it doesn't feel great, stop and readjust, reset. Try something else, or just take a breath if you need it. So 3 or 4 of these. Maybe you imagine, I like this one, there is a ball of energy between the hands. A bit Dragon Ball Z, but a nice gesture. Press it forwards. Maybe you're holding it in the top hand, that buzzing, glowing ball of energy. Maybe you grab it with both hands, fire it up, pull it back. So really kind of fluid movements like this, repeating them can just find you a place of calm in the brain. It might be that you're not really listening to me anymore, which would be brilliant if that's the case. But we're also working really strong and mobile hips here. So if you want to know what we're doing from a purely physiological point of view, we're really stabilizing through the hips. We'll go one more round. Pull it back. Last time, dipping low into Skandasana. Float your way back to your warrior two. When you get there, you're there for a breath. Cartwheel the arms to the floor. Your final vinyasa, using that wide cobra, let the left heel lift. Use that extra space if you need it to step back to plank. Your final vinyasa, make it satisfying to you, lowering the body however you like, finding 3 whole breaths, not hurrying them, in that wide cobra. I've never said that the rest of the body can't be moving here. Maybe you're lifting just a touch, maybe you're lifting a lot. Exhale, this is your last, lower down. Hands press the floor away, push the hips back to the heels. We'll find downward facing dog, but we're only going there as an opportunity to stretch out through the back of the legs and to find that last kind of sighing breath if you need it. So if you don't feel like you need this downward facing dog, you can hang out in child's pose and we'll meet back with you there. If you've come through this downward facing dog, make it what you need it to be. Take movements that feel good. Maybe an inhale breath. Maybe an exhale breath to sigh through the mouth. Letting it go. And then eventually when you feel ready, when you feel like you're done, you've had a stretch here, we'll bring the knees down to the ground. And
If you were in child's pose, just come forwards. We're going to find ourselves seated. So swing the legs out from underneath you. We're going to stretch the legs out in front. Turn on your mat if you need a little bit more room. And we're going to come into a straddle shape, but a sensible, achievable straddle where we can still sit upright. If you find that you tend to come into straddle and sort of sink towards the back of the room, go a little narrower with your feet, sit up on something if you need to. Maybe scooching some of the flesh out from underneath the bum. Let the toes point up towards the ceiling, but try to take that rigidity, that real kind of grabbing and pulling out of it. They're just softly pointed up. We'll inhale the arms up overhead. Exhaling, the right hand comes to find the floor. The left arm is going to reach gently up and over. You can let the left hip roll a little bit if you want to. We're just going to tick-tock that backwards and forwards. Inhale the arms overhead. I was saying tick-tock about this shape before TikTok became a thing, just so you know. You'll inhale the arms overhead. So the sit bones don't have to be kind of totally pressing down into the floor the whole time. You can let the weight roll from one side to the other. We're going to go for sort of a couple more breaths here. This next one, bring the arms up overhead. Exhale, let the fingertips come down in front. And this might be the place where you need to start to think about, do I need a little micro bend in the back of my knees, digging the heels into the floor a little bit more? Do I need maybe a bigger bend than that so that I can find length in the chest? Lift up with your inhale. Exhale, start to bring yourself forwards and down. It doesn't have to be big movements. It can be millimetre by millimetre movements. Maybe you need to roll more flesh out from underneath you. Maybe you need to sit up a little higher. Every inhale is your opportunity to create length, to create space. Every exhale is your opportunity to move into that space you've made. Last breath here. So if you're sitting upright like me, I feel you. Solidarity. And then we'll walk it back in. Fingertips coming back in, we'll fold in at the right leg. Bring the sole of the right foot onto the inseam of the left thigh. And just not holding any of these shapes now for a particularly long time, but just a nice little expressive fluid movement before we lay ourselves down. Inhale the arms, come up and overhead. Exhale, turn the body towards your outstretched left leg and let the hands fall either side of it. So you're not grabbing and holding, you're not gripping and pulling, you're letting the hands fall to the ground. If you can, palms face up, that ultimate gesture of surrender. Let the body bow over the outstretched leg. Again, QL muscles, open hips. QL muscles sticky in the back of the body. When you're ready, the right arm is going to lead you up and out of this shape. Imagine that moment in a horror film where the hand punches through the grave. Very nice. It leads you up and away. The right hand comes back behind you. The left hand follows. The left hand is going to lift. You're going to point the left toe, sorry. And if you want to, you could choose to lift up through the hips here. But you don't have to. You could stay with the bum seated, pointing the left toes and reaching the left hand away from it. If you're lifting, you're welcome to keep it mobile. Satellite dish the left hand around if that feels good. If you've lifted, use your next exhale to lower. Let the right hand cartwheel out of that shape. And eventually you'll use the right hand to extend the right leg and the left hand to bring the left foot in. Exactly the same on the other side. So now you know it, you can kind of take what you need from it. Inhale the arms overhead. Spin the body towards the outstretched right leg and let the body cascade over it. Hands in that gesture of ease. Let the hands being in this gesture of ease kind of emanate up through the rest of the body. The rest of the body is like, okay, easy. I'm not grabbing, I'm not pulling, I can relax. Let the body bow over the outstretched leg. When you're ready, it's the left hand that begins that reach up and overhead, cartwheeling you out. The right hand follows. Left hand finds the floor. The right hand reaches for the ceiling. The right toes will point. Maybe you're going to stay there, or maybe you're pressing up and away. Totally your choice. If you always press up and away, that seated position can feel lovely. If you've lifted, you can satellite dish the arm around. If you've lifted, use your next exhale to lower.
Let the left arm cartwheel up and out of the shape. And then from there, you're going to support both knees as you bring the soles of the feet up onto the floor and gently guide yourself down onto the mat. Take your time to get there. When you get there, let's meet with the soles of the feet on the floor, the knees pointed up gently towards the ceiling. And we'll just kind of end the practice, final movement, with a couple of breaths in rolling bridge to kind of think about laying the back body down into stillness. And I'm going to go for 3 breaths. If you want to do just 1 and then lay in stillness, that's fine. If 1 is enough for you, fab. If you want more than that, you can keep it going for longer than I do. It's very adaptable, very flexible. Hands are going to find their way down by your sides. You're going to press down through the feet, find that pull down of the belly button, that roll of the tailbone, and begin to roll the back body away from the mat, as if you're lifting one end of a string of beads. When you get to the top of your inhale breath, it doesn't have to be the top of your bridge, you'll exhale and begin to lower that string of beads, 1 bead at a time, 1 vertebrae down on the floor at a time. As soon as you get to the bottom, your inhale resets the movement. If you want to incorporate the arms, you're welcome to. They sweep up and overhead with your inhale. The exhale lowers them down. I'm going to go for 1 more and then think about releasing into stillness. But if you need a couple more of these, you're welcome to keep moving. Or if you feel like you're done, you're welcome to become still. When you feel ready, and if there are final movements that need to be made, please make them. If you want, if you want a spinal twist or anything else really, if you want to hug the knees into the chest, a happy baby, a shoulder stand, anything else, please take those final movements. But when you feel ready, we'll drop ourselves into stillness, into Shavasana. And your Shavasana literally means final resting pose. It literally means corpse pose, but I'm going to do a better translation and go for final resting pose. And your final resting pose can look however you want it to look. So if you need to lie on your side, if you need the feet on the floor, if you want to lie on your belly, or if you want the arms released overhead, anything goes here. If you want that kind of open Baddha Konasana legs, you find the shape that really suits you, that allows you to feel at ease, and that allows you to become still, because stillness is what we're after, but we're not interested in forcing it. We want a stillness that comes naturally through just being comfortable. We want an easy breath in the body. Really important. We want no judgment here. So if thoughts pop into the mind, that's fine. That's what the mind does. If the body is restless, it's fine. That's how the body sometimes is. It's your role here to observe those things, to let them be what they are, and to invite in softness if you can. See if you're able to become aware of the surface of the body, the skin, the container that your whole kind of world is experienced from. Maybe feeling cool air against the skin, clothes against the skin, or the floor or the mat underneath you. And then see if you can let that boundary blur slightly. You are still contained. You are still safe within your limit. But you are able to flow out. And the external is able to flow in. Feel yourself connected up. When you feel ready, and you'll know when it's the right moment, your body will give you the signal. You might start to deepen the breath. You might start to wiggle the fingertips and the toes, to flex the wrists, to roll the ankles. Eventually a breath might come in big enough to stretch the arms up overhead, take a full body reach, the fingertips stretching out long. And then eventually maybe you'll draw the knees into the chest and give yourself a big hug, squeezing everything in. When you feel ready, roll yourself gently over onto your side and bring yourself carefully up to sit. Again, there's no hurrying. As you come to sit, you might keep the eyes closed or the gaze cast down towards the floor. Taking an opportunity to soak in these final few moments of your practice. If you want to seal your practice here, you're welcome to do so. Maybe bringing the hands to heart center, bowing the head to the wisdom of the heart, or anything else that feels right for you in this moment. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you so much for practicing with me. I'll see you all really soon. I love your